had for a number of years bought gold. Like I went to a gold person, and I remember my first piece of gold, I paid $400 for it. It was a Cougar Rant, which I think is trash now. But anyway, but I was able to sell my gold and pay the mortgage on a home that I didn't live in, right? Because I had a second home, but I didn't want to lose it. And I cashed out everything, Tiffany, my bonds, my gold, my stock, to make sure that I made that monthly payment. And I still ended up having to do a short sale because I couldn't keep it up.
Me too.
Couldn't keep it up. And I look back on that. I wish that I had that gold now. And I wish that I had those bonds now, because I still lost the house. And I have none of the money to show for it. And it put me in a spiral that it took me 7 years to dig out of. So saying that is, I think, going to free a lot of people, because we do have that anxiety because of how society perceives us as people who are with bad credit and we're late on our bills and whatever. And I've been out lately riding my bike, and there's so many black people out working out. And I was thinking to myself, and this didn't seem like they're just coming out because of COVID or whatever. I think that there's narratives about us that just simply are not true.
Of course.
And that we repeat them, and then it becomes codified because you see an example of it and you go, see, that's black people, and see, black people don't work out.
Businesses, right? Like, so when I've had people, because my business, obviously I'm black, my 95% of my staff is black. And I would say probably a good 90% of the people that we serve are black. And so we'll get every once in a while that someone has an experience. I remember this happens often. Someone is over, say they're buying my online school. They'll press enter twice, so then they'll have double charged themselves. A mistake, but they don't realize that's the mistake that they've made, because in their eagerness to sign up, then they'll write us and say, this is not often, but every once in a while, this is why I don't like to deal with black people, black businesses, because look, you've double charged me. And it's just so disheartening because, one, sis, you did that, not us. Two, that's just not true. I mean, you know, times on Amazon a mistake has been made, and I don't say, this is why I don't deal with white men businesses, because, look, Amazon sent me a thing and it's broken. It's just, hey, Amazon, I'd like, I'm going to return this. That's it. And so we hold ourselves to this unnaturally high standard, at the same time holding ourselves to the unnaturally low expectation. And to our own selves. I remember in college I wrote a paper called The Hate That Hate Produced. That this sense of hate that has been heaped upon black and brown people, and then it produces this internal hate where you no longer have to teach me how to hate myself. I will do it myself, and I will teach it to my children, and they will teach it to their children, and that's what Jim Crow laws and they work. But yes, the thought that black fathers don't take care of their children. And they did a study not too long ago, a couple of years ago, and they found that there are no more fathers that are more active with their children than black fathers. That is a complete other lie, or black on black crime. There's no such thing as black on black crime. Literally, most races of people live with similar races of people. And so when crime does happen, if I am black and I live amongst black people, crime is going to happen amongst black people. But there is Asian crime is perpetrated by Asian people. White crime is perpetrated by white people. There is no such thing. Those are words that were invented to purposefully hold down us. For God only knows why, but yeah.
Oh, you know why? Listen, the Kenosha sheriff said these men, they need to be locked up for life. They're out there making these babies that they don't take care of. 10 babies with one, he was talking about black men, but, and everyone knows that he was talking about black men. But that's a narrative that allows you to then throw them away, lock them up, throw away the key, because they're only going out there, they're not taking care of their children. I had a fight with somebody in a comment section on my YouTube channel about that very thing, and then I had to provide the link. Because that's me. I'm going to give you the link that shows you that black fathers take care of their children more than other groups. But again, we service that, and you're right, that internal hatred is. So how do we break that, Tiffany Aliche, especially as it relates to money and our community and how we deal with one another in business?
So I feel like there are three things that help shift. So it's knowledge, it's access, it's community. So knowledge, when you know better, you do better. It's very difficult to do something new without new information being introduced into your life. So seeking, that's why I teach so much on channels, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on IG. I am the Budgetnista, and I try as much as I can to teach something new. I have a bunch of free resources. because I know that once you learn something new, it opens up a door. Like, I didn't think about it that way. So that's first and foremost knowledge. Access. Access is a little hard because access happens through people. So oftentimes we are left out of certain conversations, financial conversations, because we don't know anyone in that room. And so what I try to do is that I will find people who know more than me in specific financial genres, especially Black and brown people. I seek them out, and I ask them, can you come and speak to Dreamcatchers? So Beyonce has the Beehive, the Budgetnista has Dreamcatchers. So I asked them, can you come and speak to Dreamcatchers? And so I would say at least once or twice a month, I bring someone in to provide you with that access. Like, never didn't know how to wholesale real estate? Well, Christina, she knows how to do so. She's going to teach that. Don't know how to invest using options? Okay, well, Tila Holcomb is my options girl. She's going to come and teach you how to do that. So access opens doors that you do not have. There is no doorknob on the outside. Someone literally has to open the door from the inside and let you in. And last, but honestly, almost most importantly, community. Because community, gathering with like-minded people who are working towards similar things, is critical, because with community, it's the reason why schools are done the way that they're done, right? That you have a classroom, because people like to be part of a larger group. They like to be part of a larger mission, because community provides accountability. Community provides normalcy of the process. So you see that sometimes people struggle, but then they do better, and you're like, okay, that could be me too. Community provides encouragement, and so that's why I created Dreamcatchers. It's like about 1 million, mostly Black women worldwide, and we largely gather in our Facebook group, Dreamcatchers Live Richer with the Budgetnista, to provide that community. So knowledge, access, and community, it is a trifecta that together helps to shift behaviors, to shift narratives, and really to shift us forward. And that's what I've seen. It's going to break this cycle. And I'm seeing the cycle being broken. I have seen over a dozen people go from homeless to homeowners, Dreamcatchers. I have seen people pay for college for their children, go on vacation, start businesses, get rid of student loan debt, go back to school. So I'm seeing these financial generational curses broken as a result of knowledge, access, and community.
First of all, tell people how they can become a dream catcher. What is the process?
Super simple, easy. You go to Facebook and you go type in Dreamcatchers Live Richer with the Budgetnista. You'll see the group. You answer some questions and then you join. Or you can also, because I have an email list where we send out weekly, mostly free resources that I find. You can go to Budgetnista Goodies, Goodies, budgetnistagoodies.com. And you can just start getting free weekly resources that we send directly to your inbox. So, because I really believe that when we know better, we do better. When you see, I was just telling my husband this the other day, I said, this is why I was telling him how that we are doing better. He grew up, in a project building, him, his mother, his twin brother, his sister. His father wasn't around, and he had always said before he turned 40, he wanted to own a home. And I said, now that you've done so, watch how many of your boys from the block, that you're still cool with, watch how many of them start asking you, how you get that house? And sure enough, that's been happening. So you're seeing these men that might not otherwise be in first-time home courses, because that's what my husband took, taking those, because it's one thing for me to say something, but they're like, I know him. I grew up with him. He's like me. So if he can do it, so can I. So that's why it's so critically important that if you are able to advance yourself, if for nothing else, to be an example to those who you grew up with, so they can see that it is possible through you.
And let's be clear, you were able to get the house because of your husband's job, even though you're a millionaire. It was his his work history that made that possible. And taking that class, what did he learn taking a first-time home buyer class that he needed to learn?
Well, one, he learned, because when I first met him, my husband was like trying to just buy a nice car, and I was like, bro, that's not wealth. That we should save. So one, he learned that, like, okay, it's nice to have nice things, because for him, nice things meant that you had money. And it was like, yes, those things are nice, but even better is to have the money to support that. So one, he learned to save. Two, he learned the power of budgeting. So we lived together. When I met him, he had an apartment. He had a small apartment, so I moved in with him, and we saved from there. So budgeting was a critical component that he learned. But also, 3, his credit score had never been the greatest. It was always okay. But through first-time home buying and, of course, coaching for me, he was able to raise his credit score to where it's in either the high 700s or low 800s. And so these are things that he learned on his own, so much so that we were able to get a second property in Newark, New Jersey, so for an investment property that he is now, alongside of one of our friends, project managing the renovation of that property. But you see how all of a sudden in 5 years going forward, I want a dope car, to, oh, we got a house, to, oh, now we have investment property, to now, like Newark just had their first online auction, and he was like, babe, this weekend, let's ride around and see. And I printed out the paper. Let's ride around and see some of these houses that the city is auctioning off so we can look for our next property. But do you see that shift in mindset, And I was just like, wow, it's only been probably 5 years from let me get a nice car to let me create sustainable wealth for myself and my family. And so that all comes from the introduction of a new way of thinking, and that comes from knowledge, access, and community.
Tiffany, the Budgetnista, is with us, and you can follow her at thebudgetnista.com and get all of the goodies at budgetnistagoodies.com.